Hey, it's Lee for On Your Marks Wrestling, and I'm here with a review of Impact Wrestling for April 26th. We start with a Redemption recap package. It's fine. It's what it should be. It kind of shows you all the matches, builds things up, reminds you of what the storylines are. We cut to Austin Aries talking to the roster, who's just sitting by there, and he tells them not to worry. He still has a belt. It may not be the World Championship, but he still has a belt. He says he doesn't make excuses, but if he was someone who made excuses, he would mention that he willfully decreased his chances of winning that match by from 50 to 33% when he accepted the three-way match. He says that Scott Steiner double-checked his numbers. I don't know why. That just made me laugh like crazy. Then he also mentions that at a later point, also mentions that he doesn't make excuses, but he also says that he was facing brothers in a three-way match, so he's at a disadvantage there. And Moose kind of calls him out on making excuses and walks out on him, and the other members of the roster walk out as well. I thought this was really funny. I actually thought Aries played it perfectly. I don't know why they went with making him a bit of a joke, but he was good enough at it that you still like him and you don't kind of lose respect for him. It was great. Cool little fact from this is that Matthews and Don Callis are on commentary, so we don't have Sanjay Dutt. I thought Callis might have been just a pay-per-view guy, but it looks like he's doing this episode. I don't know if this is going to be a permanent thing, but I'm okay with it. Though I like Dutt a lot. I actually really like Dutt. I wouldn't mind a three-man booth. Which I hate in WWE, but with these guys, they're good enough that I can handle it. So then we have Trevor Lee versus Brian Cage. I love that Callis starts by talking about Conley maybe not having a manager's license. Back in the day, they used to always talk about the manager's license in WWE, and I haven't heard it in a long time, and I kind of want managers to come back. Conley and Lee obviously cheat to get a little bit of an advantage on Cage. At one point, Lee hits a double stomp onto the apron. There's a kind of reverse Samoan drop where Cage grabs Lee by the back and he drops him on his face. Cage eventually blocks a punt, does a discus clothesline on Conley on the outside, kind of eliminating him from the issues. And he eventually hits a drill claw on Lee for the win. Eddie Edwards is in the parking lot, is walking towards the arena. Tommy Dreamer tells him he shouldn't be there, he should be at the hospital with his wife. Edwards says, OVE's here, I need to be here. So now they're kind of selling the story of Edwards' obsession with hurting OVE is even surpassing his need to care for his family and things like that. There is a... Edwards comes into the ring and he cuts a promo. And he says that his job isn't over until OVE are in the hospital. And then he goes like super creepy. And he says if they don't come out, and since he had to leave his wife in the hospital, if they don't come out, he's going to go down to Dayton, Ohio, and put their wives in the hospital. So he was basically threatening assault on women. Strange to do that with a good guy. I know you're trying to prove that he's crazy, but you might be going a little too far. OVE come out. Edwards attacks them early, but they get the advantage on him. Obviously, it's 2-on-1, but eventually he kind of gets the advantage on them, grabs a kendo stick. He's about to go and attack them, and we see a video of Sami Callihan in the hospital. He's got balloons in front of his face. He rolls his wheelchair into it's Alicia. I want to say Alicia every time, but it's Alicia Edwards. Her parents deserve to be punished for that choice. Sami Callihan has scissors and he has balloons in front of his face. You'd think for drama he'd pop the balloons, but instead he just cuts the strings on the balloons. They float up and you see his bloodied up face, and he tells Alicia Edwards, we need to talk. And it kind of cuts. We see Edwards kind of run out of the arena, so we know that he's going to head to the hospital. We have a video package replay of the main event at Redemption. We've already seen a little bit of it in the earlier package, so I don't know, not that important. We get a cool little segment where DJZ talks about an injury he sustained in Mexico, how he went through 2 hospital visits and passed out at one point and didn't expect to come back necessarily, and how he's so thankful and stuff like that. I like that human stuff. You see pictures of him with scars and stuff. I loved it. I really like that stuff. We get a match between Braxton Sutter and Moose. Sutter starts talking, but Moose's music interrupts him right away. Sutter gets a bit of offense in, but eventually Moose hits his delayed drop kick on Sutter, and he also hits his spear where he does the flip out of it. I think it looks okay, and he gets the win. The crowd hit Moose with a happy birthday chant, which is cool. And then he congratulates Pentagon, but he calls himself Mr. Impact Wrestling. I don't know if that's going to stick. And he says that he'll take the title from Pentagon. Fine. Moose isn't the best promo, so if you get anything out of him, it's good. Mackenzie Mitchell's in the back. She talks to Matt Sydal. We hear, he basically kind of says third eye stuff, same thing that he's been saying lately. We hear some sounds, and then we hear someone screaming, "Help, I need some help back here." We see a ref kind of kneeling on top of a guy who's passed out. The guy has a red poster with an X on it. I'm not quite sure who that's supposed to be that beat him up, but it looks like their calling card. That's cool. LAX, we have a little kind of video package of them where they usually play dominoes or whatever. Santana is really distracted with the absence of Conan. Ortiz is trying to get him to focus. He's saying, let's focus on the match and then we can worry about the other stuff. But you know that's kind of going to be maybe a little bit of a storyline moving forward. We have a Taya Valkyrie versus Ali match. Ali puts bunny ears on the ref, which I thought was kind of funny, but she gets attacked right away. There is a cool, for women, they do chops a lot, but I like the open hand slaps on the chest. It sounded super loud. It was violent. It's cool. Ali manages to escape the road to Valhalla at one point. She misses the best super kick ever, but then she manages to hit one shortly after, and she hits a code breaker, and she actually gets the win fairly quickly on someone who's supposed to be a pretty good contender. But that's because they have more plans for them. So then 4 brides come out with creepy music, and they're rolling out a casket. They kind of leave the casket at the ring and start making their way out. Lights go out. Su Yung is there. She attacks Ali. She hits her with a draping... why am I not remembering the name? Pedigree. I wrote it down here. I should have just read it. Hits her with a draping pedigree. Lights go out again. We have Rosemary. There's a stare-off between Rosemary and Su Yung. Lights go out. Come back on. Su Yung has disappeared. The lights was a little too much. I think it was one too many times of shutting off the lights. But I did like all the other stuff. I like the imagery of the undead bride with her casket and all these the bridesmaids rolling it out. And like seeing Rosemary and Su Yung facing off. They're kind of the most similar kind of gimmicks in the wrestling. So I liked it all. Then we got Fallah Bahh in the back backstage. KM walks up to him, says his biggest regret is that he fat-shamed Fallah Bahh, and he says that they're tagging next week and he's going to show him that he's sorry. Then we get Eddie Edwards at the hospital. He goes and finds Alicia, who tells him that Callahan just wanted to talk. Edwards he kind of looks at charts and finds Callahan's room and beats up Callahan, and then gets essentially kicked out of the hospital because he's beating up a patient. There's a quick video package for Congo Kong versus Johnny Impact. So we're probably going to see that match again. And then we go into the final match of the night. It's Eli Drake and Scott Steiner versus LAX. Steiner says he was number 6 trending on Twitter. And then he says, you know why? And he calls everybody white trash and things like that. He says, because I'm world famous, bitch. And I thought it was all right. That was pretty good. Steiner gives the finger to Ortiz at one point, and Matthews calls it as Steiner says hello to Ortiz. I thought that was pretty funny. We get a belly-to-belly suplex by Steiner from the second rope, which looked pretty cool. There are really cool-looking tandem moves by LAX. I find they do some of the best tandem moves in all of tag team wrestling. I really enjoy watching them. There's a Death Valley driver by Ortiz for a near fall. LAX go for their finisher on Drake, which is basically kind of a side suplex, or no, sorry, like a, what do they call that? Something machine, death machine? I can't remember it. Guy on shoulders, and the other guy kind of throws a leg on top of him and slams him into the mat. Drake manages to kind of flip it midair and land on top of Santana. And he tries for the pin. Ortiz goes to break the pin, and Steiner, a little bit late, interferes with Ortiz or stops him from breaking up the pin. So Drake gets the 3 count on Santana, and they retain their belt. After the match, we see that Drake grabs the mic. He goes to cut the promo, and Steiner goes, "Look how easy that was, just burying his opponents." I didn't think he needed to do that. Drake talks up Scott Steiner as the best tag team wrestler of all time. He says that it feels like it's about time to cash in his case for the world title. Aries music comes on. Aries comes out. He says, he holds up the grand championship and he says, "This is the world title. The man makes the title, not the other way around." Drake kind of doesn't laugh off that idea, but he basically says he's going to wish Aries good luck at getting the title, the world title back. He doesn't care who has it. He's going to be winning it. And then we hear Pentagon Jr.'s music come on. He comes out to the ring. He cuts a promo in Spanish that I don't understand. And then Drake and Steiner attack Pentagon Jr. and Aries. They get a little bit of stuff in, but then Pentagon Jr. manages to clear the ring of the tag team champs. And then Pentagon Jr. and Aries are left in the ring, and they have a bit of a stare-off, yanking at a belt and whatnot. And that's pretty much the end of the show. I thought this show was pretty darn good. I actually thought the women's match was a lot better than they had been recently. And at least they're kind of creating a little bit of an aura there. The Eddie Edwards stuff, it's poorly acted. Alicia Edwards was awful. Sami Callihan was fine, and as was Eddie Edwards, but she was really bad. It's fine. It's setting up a storyline. They've been going with things like this for a while. That's fine. I like seeing Brian Cage anytime. I'll watch him any day. Austin Aries' opening was hilarious. It's rare that comedy hits as well as that comedy hit for me, so I really like that. The final match was a bit of a mess. People coming out, the promo, it was a bit of a mess, but it was fine. I'm going to go 7.5 out of 10. I actually kind of wanted a little bit more Don Callis in this. I didn't find his commentary was as good as usual. He said a few things, but he never kind of went controversial with it. I think he's going a little more, I don't want to say face commentary, but he's not going too heelish with it. So yeah, I said 7.5 out of 10. If I didn't, I'm saying it now. Thanks for watching. I will have more reviews coming up. Tomorrow is the greatest Royal Rumble of all time. I believe I'm going. That's what I'm calling it now. Greatest Royal Rumble of all time. I'm going to record it. I don't know if I'm going to have a review right away, but I will be reviewing it over the weekend. Again, thanks for watching.